Hey guys, this is Heather at Homeschool Culture. In today's video, I'm going to talk about Memoria Press, specifically their literature series, and I'm going to be showing you The Wuthering Heights. My daughter did Beowulf this year, Wuthering Heights. We are still in the school year. We have about 10 weeks left, so she's going to finish out with To Kill a Mockingbird. And I had planned for us to do Canterbury Tales, but I'm going to save that for not next year, but the year after next, just because we ran out of time. So I'm going to go over in detail the teacher guide, the student, and then I brought the book because I'm going to show you how they suggest different things within the book as well, just to kind of give you an idea of some expectations and things like that. All right, I'm going to go ahead and turn it around and get started. Again, you have the teacher guide and you have the student guide. So pretty much each chapter is very similar and each book is very similar in the sense of beginning is you always go over something called the introduction and the preparation. You read through the notes and instructions to students. The teacher does it, y'all do it together. They are very specific about doing the 2 essays. So you read about taking with us what matters. So they're going to be teaching the student what actually matters, what you're trying to get, take away from the reading. And then also the 4 stages to the central one idea. And that central one idea is a concept of, think of it kind of as like the thesis of the book. What is that one idea that at the end of it, it's kind of like the moral of the story type thing. And then also how to mark a book. And you'll notice she did a lot more in her Beowulf, but it teaches them how to mark. She didn't do as much towards the end of this one. And I don't know if it's just because she got used to it. But it's not something that I require, and like she's about to start the To Kill a Mockingbird, and I told her she did not have to if she didn't think that it actually helped. So she will choose to or not on that. So that that'll be something that y'all talk about. I definitely think it's probably worth it to attempt that in the beginning, and then again once they kind of get a feel of what they're looking for, they maybe can stop it. But of course, that's up to y'all. And then complete the comprehension questions over introductory material. Okay, so that is going to be the beginning pretty much for every book. So once they kind of get over that, once they've done multiples of these, they might not need to do maybe A and B, maybe actually A, B, and C, and then maybe just move on to D and E, because it does talk about, and it gives page numbers, so it tells you like what page. Let's see if I can get this closer for y'all. So like right here, read and study the basic feature and background, page 10 through 14. And so then that's going over like characters, narrative method, point of view, the genre, type of novel, all of that, themes, symbols within, etc. And so, which I think is awesome, because I'm going to be honest, as someone that does not have a literature background, I took 3 courses of literature in college, but I'm definitely not anywhere near an expert, and that was 20 years ago. So I'm so thankful for all of this within this curriculum. Okay, each volume starts out with a pre-grammar. And so like right here, imagine growing up during the early 19th century. So it kind of just gives them questions and things to think about before they start reading. Then they'll always start out with something called the grammar presentation, which is them going over vocabulary. And so that is kind of what this section. Then they will read the chapter, then they'll go over comprehension questions, and then they'll go over logic, which is going to be more type of Socratic discussion questions. Now, the comprehension questions are going to be for the most part, sometimes they'll have various answers, but for the most part, the comprehension are going to be very straightforward answers. The Socratic questions are going to be, as you can see there, answers will vary. So just know that. So like an example of a Socratic question or a comprehension question would be, who came to visit Wuthering Heights and why, and what year has he come? Briefly describe the visitor. Okay, and so then it gives you an answer right there. And then a Socratic question would be like, do you think there's a connection between Heathcliff's appearance and his character? Is this Bronte's intent? Bronte being the author. And so it's questions to me. This is more, again, how well did they read? Do they remember what they read? key points, etc. And then this is going to be them really getting to dive in and give their opinion on some things. It's going to let them have those connections, like I always talk about in a lot of my videos, is bringing in connections from maybe other literature they've read or through history that they've read, etc. And then also, my daughter and I just talked about this. She prefers this, even though these are easy to answer. She prefers this because she feels like maybe she's kind of getting to put in her own, what am I trying to say? Not necessarily always opinion, because sometimes it's more factual, but it is, opinion based. If you don't know what Socratic discussion type questions are, there's tons of stuff on that as well that you can look at. I always think of Socratic questions as kind of like you're a part of a book club, and you're a book club with a bunch of friends, and y'all are really diving in to discuss, the book, and to kind of break it apart and, get in the deeper meaning behind what the author thought, and really diving into each character, etc. And so that pretty much is the way each chapter is laid out. There's two ways you could think about, I'm just going to give you my 2 cents. I definitely think, and she agrees, my daughter, that the grammar presentation, when you're going over the words and kind of the vocabulary, very, very important, especially with some of these books that are a little bit older. It just helps them, obviously she has something to go back to and look and know once she gets to that term, what's the meaning behind it, etc. But one way to do this, because this is a very time intensive, especially if you don't have a reader that is that reads very, very fast. Although it is an 8-week program, so they do give you lots of time to read through it. Having your student do the comprehension questions, and then potentially reading the book along with them. You could even do it as a read aloud, potentially. Or read it separately, but at the same time, and then every day, whenever you're going over the Socratic discussion questions, being able to kind of be like a book club and have those good discussions with your kiddos, and maybe, you have multiple kids reading the same book. Back to that, I would just say if this is something that you plan on purchasing and you want to use it multiple years in a row, just think about that. If they do go in and highlight, you might have to get multiple books. It might be the one thing you have to pick up. And like I said, she did Beowulf very heavily. This one you can see she did very minimal. And at the end, not at all. And it might just be something that is a benefit to them early on. And it might be a benefit to some students throughout, and then others maybe, can kind of graduate from doing that. But I definitely would not skip this notes instruction to the teacher. You go over this and then go over it with your student. How to mark a book. I think this is really important. They're really trying to show them things to look for. And then even like the basic features and backgrounds of the book. And again, this is something that you could do independently with your kid. You could have your student do independently, or you could do together. I love the introduction. I love the introduction aspect, and it really goes into like the author's history, the time frame, etc. And so the teacher's guide essentially is like a lot of things. It's the student guide, and then it has the answers like to the questions next to it. So that is kind of what does it, if you want to differentiate between the two. Be careful if you do order this online. Like with Beowulf, you're going to want to get the Beowulf that they suggest. I'm not sure about all of them, but definitely pay attention to if it's like an edition, like a different edition. And then don't forget, I think it is this, I don't know why they don't just add it. I definitely think it's worth it to do the digital download and get this mark off schedule, to get this weekly schedule or, day-to-day schedule. And it shows you how many weeks and what to do each day. And then there's even this, how to teach a novel, 7-step guide to teaching a lesson on a novel. That's just a different additional information they give you when you download this. That is the look through of the Memoria Press Literature Studies, specifically the Wuthering Heights, but they all are pretty much at the high school level are going to be that consistency and kind of that layout. So do I love it for her? I do. I think it really brought information to her that I just do not possess. I mean, there's going to be times as a homeschool mom that we need to get help, whichever way there is. You know, sometimes it's online curriculum, sometimes it's curriculum like this that really dives deep instead of like trying to just do it myself. And so I appreciate this curriculum very much. It is considered a classical approach. One thing I also purchased for her, I'm not sure how much she necessarily uses it, how much I would prefer to use it more, but a dictionary of literary terms and literary theory. Another reason why I purchased it is one of the many pathways she plans on doing after high school is going into a literature undergrad. So I wanted her just to be equipped as much as possible. But I definitely would suggest it. I think there are different levels of books. Like, you know, I know Wuthering Heights isn't what's going to be for everybody. And please remember this too. Like, let's say you're a high school student and maybe their reading level isn't to what you consider the high school level. Then don't be afraid to go down to the 6th, 7th, 8th grade level and pick from those literature guides as well. You're still getting them immersed in the book and kind of diving in and seeing. I feel like when we're showing them more than just what, by doing all those Socratic discussion questions and like the introduction questions and all of that and the introduction info, you're really showing how deep a novel can get and how deep literature can get. And so that's what I definitely can't do that. And that's why I'm so thankful for Memoria Press and this curriculum here. I'm sure someone's going to ask me, are you going to do it next year? No, I already have. If you saw that video, I show you what I plan on doing for her 10th grade year. So go check that out. But like I said, I have the Canterbury Tales. Yes. And so she will be picking that up 11th grade. I'm not sure if she'll only do that. I think it's a 12-week one, so it's quite a long one. Or if I will add more Memoria Presses. There's another curriculum that I'm going to be looking into trying as well, just because I like various curriculums. I like trying different stuff. Again, and I've said this before, I like her being exposed to different, instead of the same curriculum year after year, year after year, being exposed to different stuff, because again, when she goes off to college or even in her career, you know, it's not going to be the same thing every day, year after year necessarily. And when she has different professors, they're going to bring different styles, etc. So I like her kind of getting variations that way. So that's kind of my thought process on, you know, if it's working, then why change it? Because I just like her having variations of different and seeing different curriculums, if that makes sense. Okay, I'm gonna let you go. I hope you have a super blessed day and a blessed week, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.